We're here at Invivo Wellness today with Biz Casmer, and she's going to talk about yoga therapy with us. Could you tell us a little bit about yoga therapy, what it is?
Absolutely. Yoga therapy and yoga in its truest, purest form has been around thousands of years. Very much about helping bring an individual into balance. And yoga therapy is just one of many branches of yoga that can help guide people towards balance.
What is the objective of yoga therapy?
Really to help people come back into balance, into their original state of health and wellness. And I think there's a lot of things in our current day and age that could pull us out of balance. The main objective in yoga therapy is really to help people become aware of anything that might be pulling them out of balance or causing separation in all aspects of their life. And then again, helping them to come back into balance.
What sort of health challenges can yoga therapy help with?
I think everything. Truly, with a qualified and a trained yoga therapist.
How does yoga therapy help with overcoming some of those specific health challenges?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe take one, for example, a common one.
I would say, there is an easy answer, but it's hard for the individual. So I think where our allopathic or Western medical world might have to work with medications and treatment, that can sometimes for individuals be easier than the work that we're asking them to do, which is really sitting back and asking themselves, how has my life been out of balance? That's hard stuff to do and hard work to show up for. In combination with Western medicine, yoga therapy can be so powerful because we can ask people to witness their habits, their behaviors, their lifestyle. What can they change on their own?
So essentially you look to find the underlying cause instead of just treating it.
Symptom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is yoga therapy like meditation at all?
Meditation is part of yoga therapy.
Okay.
Our Western culture, we see a lot of just one limb of the yoga. So there are 8 limbs essentially in yoga that make up yoga. The first 2 limbs are very kind of basic practices for living a healthy and honest life. Be kind to other people and yourself, etc. The 3rd and 4th limbs are the movement and posture and the breath work. So movement and posture is one limb of 8. And then that movement and posture might have yoga therapy as a branch. And then meditation is something that we do all of these things in preparation for. So we're more prepared to be still and be more introspective and inward.
A yoga session, maybe yours, include at Invivo?
I teach a couple group classes here, and both are very therapeutic. And then a private session would be, it's very different person by person depending on what they're going through. I always have an intake session with them first to get to know them, and I look for any areas of separation and kind of step back and say, okay, what does this individual need the most? Kind of what's their yoga prescription essentially? And then I put sequences together, a whole yoga sequence.
We're gonna do a couple of moves. Okay.
Right now we're in just a tabletop position, so I might say bring your hands a little wider. And then these are little things that I'm trained in, but I notice she's very hypermobile, which means she's very flexible in her joints. So as a student on your own, you might not know what the effects of that are, but I do. So a little bend in the elbows is always going to be a little bit more helpful in grounding through the hands. So when we're hypermobile and overly extended through the joint, it's more taxing on the joint over time. So a little bend is healthier. And then back here we bring the knees about hip bone distance apart. And then you're also super flexible in your back. So again, you might go into a group class and not get attention that says, okay, you're really bendy, try not to feed that extreme, right? Okay. So when I work one-on-one with someone, I might say, don't go to the extreme there. Think of a smooth curve from your tail to your head. Yes. So this is called cow tilt, which is just a nice movement through the spine. And then if you exhale, you can tuck your chin to chest, and this is cat stretch. Good. So you can go back and forth, inhale, cow. Good. And then you did go to that extreme, exhale, cat. Good.
I used to.
Yeah. So, and those are little things that someone might learn, like I mentioned before. They may never learn in a group class, especially really big classes with 30, 40 people. How do you help everybody? This is really helpful because over time, if you kept going to that extreme, it's almost like a piece of paper, like you've got a hinge point, right? And then you keep hinging on that piece of paper, eventually the paper tears, right?
Yeah.
So if you keep hinging in the same spot without a smooth spinal curve, then it can just, you're not going to tear in half, but it might aggravate that specific area of your spine. It could cause different dysfunction. So that's something I'll look for a lot just in a tabletop. So let's bring you up. We'll do a standing one too. So I'm going to have you transition. You can stay tabletop.
Okay.
Yep. And then downward dog. You can take one big step forward with your hands. Curl the toes and come up and back. Good. So down dog even is a pose that in some practices students might do 20, 30 times. And if they're doing it improperly, imagine what that can do to the body, right? So again, nice open, spread open through fingertips. Good. She's hypermobile, so a little bend there. You want to feel the shoulders kind of roll open and away and soften through shoulders there. So it's kind of weird. You roll open and then you ground here. So it's an external and then an internal rotation.
Like
Got
that?
And then, yeah, you can straighten just a little bit more. There. So that's a lot of strength, right? Does that feel different?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And then relax the head so the neck isn't strained. Your spine looks good. Your tail could lift up a little. Feel that difference?
Yeah.
And then you could ease your heels down to stretch the calves. I look a lot at people's feet. If our feet are out of alignment, it affects the whole chain. So I would look and just always give people cues to make sure they're centered in their foot. I often say like yoga orthotics. So if someone's rolling to the pinky edge, they're supinating. If they're collapsing through the inner arch, they're pronating. So we want to have a neutral foot. So look at your feet. If you're angled open a little bit, try to turn the toes inward a little. Neutral. Good. And then take a moment and just close your eyes. So this can be a really powerful pose to help people with because it's our posture. And if we close our eyes, we can go inward a little bit. So you can take a couple breaths here, maybe just ask yourself, how am I standing? Am I rocking more into my heels or my front foot? Am I rolling to my pinky edges or my big toe edges? And then can I find neutral on my own without gripping my toes? And you might feel just a little lift through your arches, feeling energy move up through the whole center of your body. And then from the feet, we'll just move up a little bit and check in with your legs and see if you're locked out through your knees. And if you are, find a little bend. Same thing as the elbow joint we talked about. If we're hyperextended, it's very taxing on the joint. And then feel some strength in the legs. And then just traveling mentally up to your hips and pelvis and feel yourself arch a little bit like that cow tilt we did. And then feel yourself tuck your tail a little like that cat back. So we're just going through the extreme. You can arch and then tuck a little. And that's going to give you information about, am I tilting my pelvis anteriorly or posterior? And we actually want to be neutral. So feel the extreme, the arch, feel the extreme, the tail tuck, and then find a neutral between. Good. And then in neutral, see if that did anything to your knees. And then find neutral knees, and then travel back up, neutral pelvis. Now feel your ribs. If you feel your ribs protruding out, draw them in just a little. Good. And then travel up through the center of the body, through the spine, through the chest. Take a big shoulder roll up, back, and down. See if that changed the pelvis or the rib cage at all. Good. And then check in with your neck and see if your chin is lifted or if the chin's parallel to earth. We want parallel, nice neutral spine. Good. And then you can gently open the eyes.